What is up, my deranged little unicorns? Go pour yourself a cup of fuck yeah and chase it down with 2 shots of I don't give a damn, because you are listening to Unhinged Inc. I'm your host, Jara Ashwell. Let's get into the episode. Do you guys want to do the introduction?
How do we do it?
It's Unhinged Inc. How do you want to do it?
Welcome back.
What's up?
Unhinged Inc., where we talk about street rats.
Street rats.
It's crazy.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to my
Welcome
channel.
back to Unhinged.
Who would I date on who would I bring on my podcast?
you wanna do it?
Let's spice things up. Probably one of my exes.
Good afternoon.
Jojo Siwa, do not cancel me, please.
This is Unhinged Inc. Back with another.
Welcome back.
All right, this is my show. Guys, welcome back to another episode of Unhinged Inc. I am joined today with 4 of my beautiful children. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
My name Whoa. My name is Willow Fricker.
And what's one crazy fact about you everyone should know?
Me and my brother are war zones.
Yes, you are. And who are you?
I'm Fallon.
And what's one thing we should know about you?
I don't know. I don't really have anything crazy about me. I'm a minor.
You're a what? A minor? We'll have to come back to this. You're a minor and you are?
I'm Dusty and I don't like running at all.
I'm Ines Ashwell, and I like sports.
I like rocks. I like to lick
I
windows.
like lamp.
But what we wanted to have a chat about today, which was something I found extremely interesting talking with my kids about, was the issues they face growing up in today's world. Like there's a lot of stuff in the media about youth being ungrateful, youth crime, all of that stuff, but it's all from an adult's perspective. And we don't really know what it is that affects you guys in day-to-day living. So that's what we're going to speak to you about today. Is there a topic you guys want to start off with?
I think probably how normalized it is, like, you know, the amount of violence that's at school or just like in everyday life, like how normalized that is so insane, I think. And it's not talked about enough, I feel.
Well, I feel like each one of you has been affected by violence at
Yeah.
some school, whether directly or indirectly. What sort of things are you guys seeing at school, violence-wise, on the daily or just in general?
Like people getting like expelled for pulling like knives to like people's throats and just like a lot of bashing like for no reason.
Like, I think in my grade, it's really popular to, you know, like you'll just like see a video float around of like people, you know, like fighting and like, you know, just over little things too. Like,
And what sort of fighting? Is it verbal or are they punching?
no, like physical, like punch-ons, like, and like it's really horrible. Like there was a video that surfaced around at our school. I don't know what grade they were in, but it was these 2 girls fighting, and like you saw a photo of like the girl's hair after, and like half her hair was ripped out, like black eyes and all of that. Like it's full on everything.
And then on the flip side of that, that's been sent around
Yeah.
and is getting all that attention
Like
and
people just
momentum.
filming it instead of trying to like actually help and
But
get
it's
in
scary,
between
right?
that.
How do you get in
Yeah.
and help? And I know like you guys are in the latter years of high school and that, but you guys have just started your high school journey. Have you witnessed physical fights at school?
Yeah, I've witnessed a lot. Like like not every break, but like most of the time,
It's really popular.
you'll just see like 2 people like start hitting each other, like pushing and shoving, and then it escalates into like punching and like kicking and all that. So
What about you from a male's perspective?
Oh yeah, there's heaps of fights.
Like physical?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. And does it carry on afterwards with 2 males fighting? Like I know girls, it can drag on. Do you think it carries on afterwards like on social media, or the fight continues over a period of time?
Oh, it definitely carries on social media.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a hold of a video.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Do you think that then eggs others on to do the same, to fight and
it
post?
becomes really popular.
Huh?
Jesus.
Yeah,
Becomes
it
popular.
just becomes a popular thing, and the more it happens, the more normalized it becomes, and everyone's like, oh, like there's a fight. And I find that people now think it's more of a joke than something more serious.
It's
That's
just
all.
normalized, as you
Yeah.
said. And that's an everyday thing that you guys are facing.
Yeah, or at least once a week, or, you know, it's just, and it's from like, I find in all grades, it's from one particular group of people where, you know, it's not so much people fighting for serious things, it's people who think they're, you know, more popular and can boss around everyone else. I find it's more
Yeah.
people from that group of people.
Yeah. So very similar to vaping being so readily accessible at school too.
Because I think vaping started becoming more popular when I was in grade 8, I think. So
Yeah.
like when I was younger, and it was just like the amount of people that were exposed or able to just walk into a shop and buy it without being ID'd or anything. Like it's just, we were all like 13 and exposed to people doing that at school or out in public, like at a very young age.
So have you guys been offered hits on vapes at school?
Fallon has.
Yeah, I've been chased around like the shopping center with this guy, and he was like, do you want to hit of my vape? And I said no, and he just kept chasing me, and then was like blowing it in my face and stuff. I was like,
I know your grade
Gross.
has, right? You've been offered one, right?
My grade is the worst grade.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone in my grade, like, not only vape, they do weed. There's a kid in my grade that, like, professional at selling drugs. His first day here, he came in year 8. First day here, asked if I wanted to buy coke off of him.
They all
In year 8,
yeah.
Coke.
People
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
weed to school now, though. Like
Yeah.
people bring weed to school and like smoke it like in the bathrooms during class. Like I know someone that was in my class that was like, "I'll be back." Went to the bathroom for like 20 minutes and came back like high as. Like as if you're just gonna bring that to school. Like it's-
See, look, we had a little bit of that when I was at school, but I don't think it's on the scale of what it is and what you guys experience at school at the moment.
and I think because it happens so often now, where everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, like whatever," when that's not a little thing.
And how do the teachers manage it? Like, it feels like with all this shit that goes on, all these furries running around school and all these extra labels, that these teachers are more babysitters rather than actually giving you guys an education. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's a few teachers that really do help and make an impact. But if you could give school one word, like sum up the environment and all the shit that goes on at school, what word would you give it?
As in, people bark at me, so then I bark back, and then I get in trouble. She said, if you speak to this girl when she says something, you're automatically suspended.
well, I mean, like, I don't really have one, but like, if I had one, I would say playpen. Like, it sounds weird, but it's like, it's not even a place where people are getting educated. It's just like,
What's so funny about that? Share, Ines?
I think that was more than one word.
All right, smartass, you're up. How would you describe school in one word?
Pretty good. What's your word?
Circus.
Oh,
That's good,
I like
actually,
that.
hey?
And you're the jester.
No.
I think if I had to describe, like, unfair, because there's so much, like, the school is going to a point where it's like, you know, we can have people dressed up in tails and boys walking into female bathrooms, but if you express that you're feeling uncomfortable or not okay with that, then you're punished for it. I think
So when did this furry thing start?
Like 2020. I actually have a theory. What if COVID-19 wasn't like the big disease? Maybe it was like some sort of thing that like rotted your brain, and then all like the furries at school, the people who got COVID.
How confusing is it? Like, high school's a confusing time, right? When you start learning about being gay or whatnot, and confusing to work out which way you are, who you want to be. And then there's all these different labels, and everyone feels like you have to put a label on who you are, what you like.
I think it's really like, you know, especially for like age, like in high school, people from 11 to, you know, 17, 18, it's such like, you don't know anything yet. Like you don't know anything about life, and it's so hard to be able to say, you know, I identify as this or I feel this way. It's like, you don't know. You're
Is
not
there any
100%
support
sure.
around it or any
I wouldn't-
education at school?
I wouldn't say support. I would more say that the school is trying to be more involved with that sort of stuff and spread more awareness or give people more knowledge. But it's more so being treated as like a celebration. I feel like all of that, which, you know, if that's really how you feel, that's great. But it's more being shoved down our throats now.
And full disclosure, we all support
Nothing
anyone that
against
identifies
it.
like
It's-
that. But
I think what we more have a problem with is when it is shoved in your face, and it's like, if you don't feel a certain way about something, you're in the wrong. When it's like, well, not everyone has the same feelings about something.
correct. It's a confusing time. It's a confusing time for everyone, and you can understand if someone was feeling confused about that, how bad it would be for them. That's why it was interesting, like what support is there, because I feel like there's a big gap in support for all sorts of things for you kids, of knowing exactly where to go if you're overwhelmed, because school's got a lot of pressure. Like you two finding that in your later years in high school.
School, especially in my final year of school, there's so much more pressure to put on you to, you know what you want to do after school, and, you know exactly what you need to agree. If you want to do uni, it's a lot. And it's like, you know, most of the people or most of my friends have no idea what they want to do. So they end up falling under this pressure of picking a random uni course to do and dropping out halfway through. And it is a lot of pressure, definitely, even to then after high school, I guess. Do you feel any pressure at school?
Not really. I kind of already have a starting plan for when I graduate. I still got like 3 years to kind of decide. I don't know. I just feel like a whole future shouldn't depend on a letter that we get on a test.
Or a grade? Yeah.
Yeah, letter.
Yeah.
That's a good point. What about you? Do you feel the pressure with school?
Yeah, honestly, my teacher was like, what are you going to do when you're out? And I'm like, I want to drop out, honestly, because school's not for me. Like,
But what are you going to do?
oh, motorbiking. I want to go on dirt bikes.
You're going to be a professional dirt bike rider.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And how about you, Miss Fallon? Do you feel the pressure with school?
Yeah, honestly, I do because, like, on my math exam, I thought I did really good. Like, I was really hyped about it. I was like, yeah, I think I've done really good and I hope I get a good mark. And then, because I was actually really confident about it. And then the next day, our teacher came around. She was like, your guys' math, like, exams are looking so horrible. Like, you guys haven't improved much. And I was like, well, to me, I feel like I've done a really good job. And the teacher actually helped me with it and didn't tell me all the stuff, but like helped me with it. So I thought it was like a good test and I was confident about it. But then she came around saying that it was bad, so I got scared and like I just was like scared that I was gonna like fail or something.
And that's the thing. Failure shouldn't be something that you fear because you're one step closer to working out what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing, like on top of like, grades or report cards, like I find that a lot of people make like, how you get like A, B, C, D, E, F, or whatever. Like everyone makes a C grade like a bad thing. But that's, like I
It's a
feel
pass.
bad when I get a C, but it's not a fail. Like it's a good thing. But I think especially teachers make a C feel like such a bad thing or a failure. And it's not.
No,
at
I
all.
agree. They're not teaching you about failing. They're just scaring the hell out of you.
Yeah,
All you got to
that's-
do is pass. A pass is a
Exactly.
pass. It's like winning.
Exactly.
Whether you win by a millimetre or by a kilometre, it doesn't
still a
bloody matter.
pass.
So youth crime is a massive topic on everybody's lips at the moment, no matter where you live. What do you guys, from your point of view, how do you feel living in a world where you're scared to be at home? What are you witnessing at school?
I think it's another one of those things that's just become so normalized and people just expect it. But it's really like, it's actually a really scary thing. Like even when, you're walking in the shopping centers and see a big group of younger kids too, like kids that are younger than me, and they're holding knives and going up to people and threatening them or stealing off people, like, and just with no cares, as if they deserve it. And I think especially after our break-in, it's scary to just by yourself. These kids that are the ones that are, stealing off people and all that, they're too young and they've been exposed to things, and it comes from, their parents or their guardians, whatever adults are looking after them, they learn it from them. And I think they're just being exposed to way too much at such a young age.
And from such a young age, like I know some friends that you've had along the way at the very young age of 8 have been in stolen cars and have been chroming, and that's scary to think.
Yeah, well, they would kind of brag about it. They'd be
think
like,
it's cool.
oh, I was in stolen cars with like a couple of my friends. And like, it's really sad because like one person, still not in school and it's like almost term 3, and they not in school. They ran away from up somewhere where they have to stay, and they just ran away from it any chance they get, and they took very bad to the people that take care of them and stuff. You don't hear from her for weeks, and at the end, and she'll all of a sudden pop up out of nowhere and stuff like that. And I haven't heard from her in six months. I heard from her at the start of the year.
At my school, there were these kids and they're like part of like a really bad group, but like nobody really knows them, so they're kind of like this one kid, he went around the school like threatening people, saying, I have 8 knives in my bag, say anything and I'll like slit your throat, or like all that stuff. And he said it to me, and I was like, he said it to me, he's like, oi, I have eight knives in my bag, like don't go around saying anything. And I was just like, well, that shouldn't be like allowed and all that. It was just an insane experience.
But I think another small percentage of these kids that are going around and doing all that and, stealing from stores and people, a lot of them are the ones that come from like really horrible backgrounds and really tough childhoods. And they, like, some of them feel like that is the only way to survive or get through is, by stealing. And like, that's what they're used to, and that's
Yeah.
what they think is necessary in order to live.
So you can still be like, oh, you dirty dogs for doing that, but also have empathy.
Yeah,
for
because
what
that's
these
what
guys
they're
obviously
used to.
go through or
That's what
experience.
they've been taught.
Well, that's it. You guys don't come home. You've got people that are out looking for you.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids, and look, not all, some of them come from good homes and just make really poor choices. But we've all experienced it. Like you guys, your house was broken into. We've been broken into. Our other boy got held up at knife point on the main road for a push bike. Nothing was done. Like, it's just, there's that angst out there, and you guys are coming through in the thick of it. And I just really feel for you. Like, you mentioned to me that you were too scared to walk outside your front gate alone, being a female, and that people may follow you places.
Yeah, because so one time, me and my friends, we walked down to this local like foodery, and it was only like a few minutes away from my house. Like, me and Ines have walked there before. Me and my friend were walking down there and walking home, and this guy that we had seen earlier was driving past us and just pulled up right where we were. So then I called like my stepdad and like told him about it, but said, don't worry, like I'll call you if anything else happens. And then we kept walking. He was still parked, and then he like kept driving again. So we were still walking, and then I got on the phone to my stepdad again. I was like, come pick us up. This is really weird. And then he pulled up and was just staying in his car. So like stuff like that has happened, and it's just a scary experience.
It's yucky. And the whole not having your headphones up too loud, watching over your shoulder, walking home
Yeah.
from bus stops.
When I'm walking to a bus stop or walking to meet my friends somewhere, like I don't have my headphones on that loud. Like if someone is pulling up next to me, I automatically cross the road. Like it's things like that I feel like, especially at our age, like we do need to be aware of it, but we shouldn't have to. Like it's
Okay, odd question, because I know what the answer would be for my generation. Who are you scared of? In your mind, who is it? Is it an older person of the opposite sex? Is it a group of young people? Is it a really vast range of people that you'd be fearful of, given what goes on in our world?
I think the stereotypical old creepy looking man, but I think it's also at a point where these days it could be anyone.
Ines, what about you as a bloke? Do you worry that someone could pull up and just start a fight? Like, violence happens anywhere. You hear these horror stories of kids walking home from school with friends, and next minute a car full of people jump out and flog them.
Yeah, well, not really scared of walking home by myself or when I'm out like in public and like shopping centres and that. When you see a big group of like them want to be like gangster Eshe people.
Yeah, they carry knives and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when I was out with my friend this one time, he's like friends with like all that kind of stuff, and he's like involved in that. I was with one of his mates in the middle of the shopping centre, and if you know, there's a gang called and like he had kids on him, and there's like kids with knives chasing us. And
Yeah. Do you guys also find it's hard, especially with social media and how fast everything can go, being your authentic self? Like, I know you don't. You've got no care in the world, but the judgment and the bullying and all the stuff that comes with it.
It's definitely harder, I think, nowadays to, post what you want or, post a photo because you like, because there's so much, it's on top of how fast everything can spread. It's just people can perceive things differently now, I guess, and I think it's just a lot harder to be able to just post what you want or do what you want on social media now.
Do you two find it hard, like starting high school with being yourself and trying to find your feet without the fear of the bullying?
I do, because when I first joined high school, we have like these skirts that go down to like way past our knees, and you get in trouble if you roll them up. And some girls roll them up really short, but I didn't know if I'd get in trouble, so I rolled it up just at my knees. I wasn't in the popular girls group at first, and I had joined this other group, right? And my friend was in a popular group, so then I slowly started hanging out with them, not because I didn't like the other group, just because they were more of my friends. And later on, one of them told me that apparently a bunch of those girls were judging me for having my skirt that long and that it didn't look okay, and I wasn't like that, I was supposed to have it more rolled up, and then made fun of me because of the girls I was hanging out with and all that. And I just find like hearing that and then them expecting me to still be friends with them, I was just like,
Does it then continue on social media? Like, do they say it to your face but also then double down on social media to get their point across?
well, I've never really been hated on social media, but that's mostly because my social media accounts are private, or I just have my friends. But my friends like turn on me. They've never really like made fun of me. Actually, hold on, in year 6 one time some girl wrote this whole paragraph on one of my videos about how nobody liked me and stuff, and then I later texted her and I was like, hey, like I don't know what that was for, like, and I apologized to her, and then she blocked me after I
So you apologised
But
to
I
her and then she blocked you.
Yeah. And then
But I think that is like another thing that people tend to do is like taking photos. Like there's multiple accounts like for our school that it's just solely based off people taking photos of other people without them knowing and posting them online to make fun of them. Like
Yeah.
there are a variety of accounts on Instagram or whatever, like just to make fun of people.
And nude photos.
Yeah, there's a bunch of that as well. Or people just, you know, like airdropping them to people at random times and all of that. It's just, yeah.
Well, how old are you, Fallon?
I'm 12 years old.
And you've been sent dick pics.
Yeah, I got one sent to me by a guy that liked me, that was obsessed with me.
And let's clarify, you didn't ask for said photo of,
No, I didn't. He just randomly sent it to me.
and that's what you guys are facing at 12.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Do you get sent random like titty pics? Does it work the other way?
Yeah, I hate it. It's so.
But do you?
Except from those AIs and that, like on Snap.
But that's
Okay, another
thing.
one. Yeah, go
like
for it.
AI's like, especially with the one on Snapchat now that I think everyone has if you have Snapchat.
Well, I don't use
There's an-
Snapchat, so
Okay,
and a lot of
so-
parents probably won't use Snapchat.
Yeah.
So can you?
So on Snapchat it's only recently been added where it's an automatic AI like messenger that you get where you
what's
can,
AI? Artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Yep. Gotcha.
So it's just like a fake online person, essentially. And everyone has it. You can't remove it. Like, it's there. And it is actually really creepy because, like, you know, obviously you can talk to it. And a lot of people I know ask it for, like, answers and stuff when studying for an assessment or something. But have been videos that circulate of, like, them saying that they know where someone lives or, you know, like they...
and creating
Yeah.
artificial photos of them being somewhere else and it's not
Uh-huh.
you.
Like, it's
Yep.
just, it's really creepy, I think. And I don't use mine. I don't know if you use yours.
Have you used the AI thing?
Like cheating on stuff. But
Yeah. So, like, using for, like, schoolwork and stuff is
Yeah.
what a lot of people use it
Okay.
for. But I don't use it.
Have you used it?
I make fun of mine, and then it says that's not very nice.
Okay.
Like, and also something creepy about it is like it's like an actual, like, not an actual person, but it like
Communicates.
you could start a conversation with it and it would like make up random stuff. You'd be like, hi, how's like your day? And it'd be like, oh, it's nice, I've just gone to the beach, like stuff like that. And it's just really,
They have weird responses and respond, like, immediately.
Creepy.
Yeah. It's really... And, like, anyone who has Snapchat has it. You can't remove it or anything.
That's probably the most annoying thing that you can't remove it.
It's at the top of, like, your phone.
Well, it's in Instagram as well now because I accidentally went to type in my search bar and I'm like,
yeah.
why is this thing telling me something? But it was bang on. But I was just like, oh, this is
no,
interesting.
the AI thing, I think's another profit because if you pay for Snapchat Premium or whatever, you can remove it. You can remove the AI.
But that's only if you pay.
So
Like, you
all
have
that
to pay to
making money.
get rid of it, which, you know, not everyone has that.
Gotcha. Other major things that happen in the world, like obviously we've got random wars that kick off. We have, you know, religious problems. We have, I don't know, landslides, all that sort of stuff in the world. What are the things that bothers you guys the most about everyday events in the news? Could be anything that's happening in the news.
for example, religion, when people push it on you. I remember in year 6, I was in RI, which is like religion, like a class, because I'm Christian, right? And I was in it, and so was this girl, and I said, hey, like, we were talking, and I said, yeah, I'm Christian too, and she's like, do you read the Bible? And I said, no. She's like, do you pray? I said, no. And she was like, do you go to church? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, then you're not Christian, and started telling me that I wasn't Christian. I was like, well, I've been baptized, and it doesn't matter if I've done anything of, like, done any of that. If I believe in God, I'm like, I do. And it was just...
It's frustrating, hey?
I think protests are something that are really big now and really have been pushed further to what I think, like, some of them I see where it is, you know, protesting for women's rights or pro-choice, pro-life. Like, I think that's
That's a huge topic.
that's good, and I think that's good, and people who really are doing them to just, you know, try and get attention. But I then think there's other ones where it's more so like you'll see it and you feel very, like, attacked.
Yeah.
Like, I was lining up for a concert a couple months ago, And there was one, I can't remember what it was about, but there was a protest happening there, and it was people coming like this close up to your face, just screaming and, you know, saying like, you need, you know, just like you feel really attacked in some of them, I think. And I think it's now sometimes been turned into a form of attacking and pressure, I think, to believe a certain way or act a certain way.
So near where we live, you know, there's that new construction for the bridge.
Yep.
Yeah, there was people protesting some much random thing. They were protesting about where the materials were coming from, how they're coming from China, and they're like stopping
Yeah.
the traffic, stopping the people from doing their job. All of them do the same thing. I don't know. Like,
But to them, that could be very important. Do you know what I mean? But is it the way
It's
they
just
go
that-
about it?
Yeah, it's not so much like what they're protesting about. It's more so they're doing it in a very invasive way and very, rather than sending a message about whatever it is that they're protesting about, they're saying, if you don't believe in this, if you don't act this way, you're bad.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not the right way to live. So it's not so much what they're protesting about, it's just how they're doing it.
Okay.
It's
And-
been turned into something that's really not.
Or like if you don't protest for this, like you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna die, you're gonna die painfully. Or it's like you don't love your mum. Like I love my mum. You can't take that away from me just because I didn't like a video.
And way the world is with it being so violent, everyone's angry with everyone. We're sitting and watching China and Korea and Russia and, you know, this Palestine and Israel stuff, and everyone's holding their breath. Where do you guys are in the thick of it? Like I'm nearly 40, so I'm not going to be around forever. Where do you see all of this going in the next 5 to 10 years?
A lot of places have like a lot of objects. Like Australia could say like F you to China, and then China will turn around and throw atomic bombs at us, and then Russia will gang up with China, and then that type of stuff. Like a lot of people really have to watch what they say nowadays. Like you can't go saying, hey, I don't really like you, like, because like to different countries, because they can just turn around and do whatever they want.
I just don't know how many times we have to start, or people have to start a war to understand that it always ends the same. Like there's never I've never heard of a war that ends in a good result. Like it always ends the same.
Yeah, and even if it's like not with countries, even with like people, like I've heard people say, oh, like talk bad about someone, and then that friend that they talked bad to goes and tells them, and then this whole group of people will start getting up on this one person, and then it turns into this whole thing. And it like you just like what she said, you have to watch your like way of talking, because big things happen from small things. So
there's always going to be tension between countries and war and that. It's like it's been around forever, even like before any of you old people were born.
Oh, easy on the old.
Like there's nothing we could really say or do that's going to change people's mind about it.
You really feel like that? Do you feel like your voice matters at all? No?
If we're not like Elon Musk or like the president of China or Russia, we can't really do anything about
It can
it.
definitely make a small impact, but I don't think it's necessarily going to, you know, stop wars from happening. But I think that's maybe how a lot more other people feel is, you know, you can say or do as much as you want, but it's not going to stop.
Are
know?
you fearful of the future?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, like I was like saying like stuff like I'll be like, oh, I want to live forever and stuff like that, and then when my teacher was like, no, the Earth is gonna go down in like a billion years. Like you're not gonna be able to live forever. And it's like I kind of do, but then I kind of don't, because then I'll have to watch everything go to down.
yes, I'm scared of the future, but that's because right now the things that are happening, like they're bad, right? We all think it's horrible, like it's bad. Everything's gonna escalate in the future. Like that's just gonna get even worse. I feel like the world's just gonna fall apart.
And what about you, Dusty?
I don't know. I just think, especially the younger children have been exposed to a lot of, I don't know, just like content that probably wasn't
Explicit content?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just content that isn't that they shouldn't be exposed to, and I think it's way too normalized that's what young people are seeing every day.
That over-sexualization
Yeah.
of boys, girls,
Yeah.
everybody at such a young age.
It's too much, and I think it is a lot of it. I think is just like with like the youth violence and all that. It's a lot of stuff that kids have seen, whether it's from like other adults in their life. I think that's maybe another thing that can impact that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think all of over sexualizing yourself, especially in high school. I feel like there's some sort of pressure that you have to look a certain way or act a certain way, and
Do things at a certain age.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's not something that us kids should be dealing with, I feel.
Absolutely. What about you?
Oh, no, not really.
You're not afraid of the future?
Not really.
Nothing scares you at all?
Not really. I mean, Australia's quite safe and it's not really in danger of anything.
Yeah, but I feel like anything could happen at any point. Like anything, someone could decide that everyone hates Australia and
Blows us up.
yeah, like anything could happen. And I think that's the thing with the future is that you can't predict. You don't know what's going to happen.
That's right. And what about as a brother with sisters, obviously, younger, older? Does that worry you with the violence you see in the domestic violence against women?
Oh, yeah. I feel like I'm pretty scared for them at least. You know, getting bad relationships.
Yep.
Like, could really affect them. But I think...
But it can also affect you. Men
yeah,
and boys can be subject to domestic violence as well,
Yeah.
whether it's physical or mental. You know what I mean?
That's what I think doesn't get talked about enough, is women being the
The men's side of it.
like the women being the abusive one out of the relationship is kind of overlooked.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm sure you guys have experienced somewhere along the lines with friendships or girlfriends, boyfriends and whatnot, some form of control or abuse, yet you're all under the age, 17 and
Yeah.
under.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, I definitely think, and I think that also comes with, you know, feeling like you have to act or do certain things that are essentially adult things, you know, that you don't do as kids. And I feel like in relationships or certain relationships, there's that big pressure coming from one side. And like, we have to, you know, you have to do this, like, this is what a relationship means. And
Be a
it's-
certain way, look a certain way.
And that's not always what it's about.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the relationships I see in my school now are very adult relationships where it's based on adult things, like an adult behavior, and it's just not
Rather than teenage
normal.
high school stuff.
Yeah, it's just not normal.
Do you think that's been accelerated by social media, Netflix, access to things a lot easier?
Yeah, I think seeing, obviously on social media, seeing how other people are in, you know, in terms of relationships, seeing how certain people are in relationships, seeing, you know, other adults in your life and how they act and whatever, that's another big impact, I feel.
Yeah.
Because that's what you see on a day-to-day basis. That's
Yeah.
what you know, and then that's what you'll then put into your relationship, I feel.
Yep. Otherwise, you've got to break the cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be difficult too.
Really hard.
Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing all your thoughts with me. I know that was a little bit heavy at times. I do have some questions that I ask all my guests that I'd love for you to answer. What is your favourite rock?
I had a rock. I don't know if you remember, but I had a smiley face on it and I called it my pet. I took it everywhere and it was really, I still have it. It's somewhere in my room.
Really?
Willow's stories are always the
didn't
best
know.
because you'll be talking about one thing and end up on a completely different subject.
And then you've got to work out what's actually going on.
Yep.
They're so entertaining. Felon, favourite rock?
You know those like the salty lamps that like you turn on and the light.
Salt.
She licked it.
Hang on, what?
One time she licked a salt lamp.
I thought it was yummy.
There's pink lamps you could get. It's like
The Himalayan salt
Yeah.
lamps? Yeah. Do you lick mine? No. Okay. That could be very strange. All right, moving on. Dusty?
I don't really know. Do you have one? I can't. Okay, you go.
Wait, is granite a rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, granite. Yeah, I really like granite rocks.
That's what your dad said, except he called it like a bretcher and it's not
he put-
granite.
It's not granite, but it's like granite.
He looks as rocks. What do you like?
No.
Do you have a rock that you like?
I don't know. It's like probably just like a quartz or something.
Yeah,
Just-
cool. Any
yeah.
particular colour or just any quartz?
Probably pink.
So rose quartz.
Rose
Hold
quartz,
up.
yeah,
Wilby
sorry.
wants to.
Also, I want my stick back.
You want your stick back. Okay. To the girl who took Willow's stick, can we please have it
Have
back?
the stick back.
And then the last question I always like to ask is, if you were an animal, what would it be?
Been waiting for this question.
I would be like a lion or a cheetah.
Fallon?
Mine would be a gorilla or like a monkey because I still have because you still have the human like hands that you can like grab stuff
Closest
and all
to a
that.
human form.
Yeah.
Okay. I like.
The animal I want to be the most.
Yeah.
Probably like a peregrine falcon.
Why?
Because one, they're the fastest animal, right?
Yep.
And the birds. Imagine flying. Can you imagine? Just
That would
being
be
able to
pretty
fly.
cool. Dusty?
I don't know what specifically, but definitely a type of bird. I feel like being a, like I think.
A curlew.
Oh no!
2 a.m.
No.
Is that the noise they make?
Yeah.
Can you do a curlew noise?
Wait, isn't it like they're like it's like
It sounds like someone screaming. It sounds like something you hear off a horror movie.
Okay, now we've got a new one. Now you got to make your animal's noise. Okay. Go for it.
Kind of good. That was kind of good.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. I think it was a fantastic insight into the way our youth think, because I think as an adult we can think what we want and try and say that we know what really bugs them or bothers them and what they experience in their day-to-day life, and we actually don't. Because oh, sorry, the dogs are getting into it
dog?
under here. This isn't
that
not
the
an
dog?
R-rated show, Hanky. Walk on out. But these special 4 guests have a way they want to leave this episode. So I will do my sign off and they can finish off. So please, wherever you're listening, like, follow, jump on and follow Unhinged Inc. on Instagram. Drop us any comments, any feedbacks, or if there's somebody that you want to be on here as a guest, please let me know. So guys, are you ready?
Who
All
wants
right.
to start?
Number 1,
you are my fire.
Number 2.
the one desire.
Believe when I say.
I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our latest episode. Your support means the world. So wherever you're listening, if you don't mind jumping on, follow, like, share it with someone that might get something out of it. I would so appreciate it. If there's something in this episode that has piqued your interest and you want to get in touch, please slide into the DMs. Until next episode, guys, stay safe, be an extra kind human, and see you soon.
6 months.
At my school,